Imagine a time when women weren't even allowed to dribble more than once. Now, they dominate the court with speed, skill, and power. Women's basketball has come a long way, breaking barriers and making history at every step. From its quiet beginnings in the 1890s to the global phenomenon it is today, the sport has been shaped by fearless pioneers and game-changing moments. In this video, we'll take you on a journey through the biggest milestones that made women's basketball what it is today. The early days of women's basketball. Women's basketball has a long and interesting history. It started in the late 19th century, not long after basketball itself was invented. Dr. James Naismith created the game in 1891 as a way to keep kids active indoors during cold winters in Massachusetts. Just a year later, a woman named Senda Berenson introduced basketball to women. She was a teacher at Smith College and believed the game could help women stay healthy and strong. At that time, many people thought women were too weak for sports, and Berenson wanted to change that. A ladylike version of the game. Even though Berenson brought basketball to women, she had to change the rules to make it more proper for the time. Society didn't think women should be running too much or playing rough sports. So, the court was divided into 3 sections, and each player had to stay in her assigned section. Women could only take 3 dribbles and hold the ball for 3 seconds. Stealing the ball or hitting it away was not allowed. These changes were meant to make the game less tiring and more acceptable for women. Still, many people were not happy about women playing basketball at all. The first women's basketball games. Beyond this, women's basketball grew quickly. The first recorded game between schools happened in 1892 when a University of California, Berkeley played against Anna Head School for girls. Soon, more schools joined in. By 1893, women at Mount Holyoke College and Sophie Newcomb College were also playing basketball. Within just a few years, the sport spread to Wellesley, Vassar, and Bryn Mawr. Women loved the game, but not everyone approved. Many believed sports were too aggressive for women and could harm their health. A sport, but not a competition. While basketball was becoming popular among women, some people worried about the competitive nature of the game. Cinda Baronson herself wasn't sure if women should be playing to win. She liked basketball because it helped women stay fit, but she didn't want them to be too aggressive. Schools started banning competitive games, afraid that playing sports would be bad for women's bodies and minds. The first intercollegiate game. Despite concerns, women's basketball continued to grow. In April 1896, the first intercollegiate game took place between Berkeley and Stanford. This was a big moment for women's sports, but it didn't last long. Soon after, Stanford and other schools banned intercollegiate sports for women. Many believed that competition was not suitable for women, and they wanted to keep sports more focused on exercise rather than winning. Even with these challenges, women's basketball kept growing. Players and fans loved the game, and they weren't going to let outdated ideas stop them. The sport was still in its early stages, but it was clear that women were ready to play. Slow progress in the early 20th century. After the first intercollegiate game in 1896, women's basketball kept growing, but change came slowly. Many schools still believed competition wasn't suitable for women, and strict rules remained in place. For many years, women played under modified rules designed to limit movement and reduce physical strain. However, the love for the game never faded. In 1924, a small but important change happened. Women were finally allowed to govern their own games. This meant they had more control over how the sport was played and organized. Then, in 1938, another step forward took place when the court was reduced to 2 sections instead of 3, allowing for more movement. Still, women were not yet playing full-court basketball like men, breaking barriers in the mid-20th century. Well, it wasn't until 1971 that women were finally allowed to play full-court games. This was a huge moment in women's basketball, making the game faster and more exciting. A year later, in 1972, an even bigger change happened. Title IX became law. Title IX was a major turning point for women in sports. It was a law that required schools to give female athletes the same opportunities as male athletes. This led to a massive increase in the number of women playing basketball at all levels. Schools were now required to support women's basketball teams, and more girls than ever started playing the sport. Then in 1976, women's basketball became an official Olympic sport. This was a proud moment, as it meant women's basketball was now recognized on the world stage. Just 2 years later, in 1978, the first professional women's basketball league, the Women's Professional Basketball League, WBL, was created. Though it didn't last long, it paved the way for future professional leagues. The NCAA and the growth of college basketball. Not only this, women's college basketball also saw big changes. In 1982, the National Collegiate Athletic Association, NCAA, began sponsoring women's basketball. This helped bring more attention and resources to the sport. More scholarships were given to female athletes, and college basketball became a bigger stage for women to showcase their skills. In 1985, Senda Berenson, the woman who first adapted basketball for women in the 1890s, became the first woman inducted into the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame. This was a well-deserved honor for someone who helped start it all. The birth of the WNBA. Apart from this, women's basketball reached another major milestone in 1996 when the United States women's basketball team won the Olympic gold medal. That same year, the National Basketball Association, NBA, helped launch the Women's National Basketball Association, WNBA. The WNBA started with 8 teams, giving women a professional league in which to compete. Since then, the WNBA has become the longest-running women's professional sports league. Today, it has 12 teams and continues to grow in popularity. Unlike the early days of women's basketball, the rules are now almost the same as men's. The only differences are that the women's ball is slightly smaller, and the three-point line is a little closer to the basket. Challenges and the fight for recognition. Even though women's basketball made big strides, the journey wasn't easy. In the early 20th century, many people still believed women shouldn't play competitive sports. Even as the sport became more accepted, women's teams received far less support than men's teams. For a long time, women's basketball players had to fight for funding, training facilities, and respect. Many colleges didn't want to invest in women's sports, and professional opportunities were very limited. Even when the WNBA was created, it struggled to get the same attention as the men's league. Despite these challenges, women continued to push forward. The passion for the game never faded, and each generation of players inspired the next. The rise of international competition. As women's basketball grew, so did international competitions. The Olympics became an important stage for women's basketball, and many countries started investing in their women's teams. The WNBA also helped grow the game worldwide, as more players from other countries joined the league. This gave young girls around the world more role models in the sport. Seeing women compete at the highest level showed that basketball wasn't just for men, it was for everyone. Legendary players who changed the game. Now let's talk about those legendary players who made their mark in basketball. Women's basketball wouldn't be where it is today without some incredible players who broke barriers and inspired future generations. Cinda Baronson played a crucial role in the 1890s by introducing basketball to women and creating the first set of rules for the women's game. Her contributions laid the foundation for the sport to grow. Along with this, Lynette Woodard also made history as the first woman to play for the Harlem Globetrotters, proving that women could compete at the highest level and inspiring many young athletes to pursue basketball. Also, Diana Taurasi became one of the greatest WNBA players of all time, known for her exceptional scoring ability, leadership, and dominance on the court. Last but not least, Maya Moore not only achieved greatness in the WNBA, but also used her platform to fight for social justice, bringing attention to important issues beyond basketball. These women, along with many others, played a huge role in shaping the future of women's basketball, proving that the sport belongs to everyone. The evolution of the game. Anyhow, the way women play basketball has changed a lot over the years. In the early days, the game was slow, with strict rules limiting movement. Players couldn't dribble more than a few times, and competition wasn't encouraged. As time went on, the game became faster and more exciting. Women's basketball today is high-paced, physical, and filled with skillful plays. Players are stronger, faster, and more athletic than ever before. Now, women's basketball games draw big crowds, and fans around the world tune in to watch their favorite players. The power of media and women's basketball. One of the biggest reasons women's basketball has grown is media coverage. In the past, women's sports got very little attention. Even when female athletes achieved great things, they weren't always recognized. Things have started to change. More women's games are shown on TV, and social media has helped bring attention to female athletes. Fans can now follow their favorite players, watch highlights, and support women's basketball like never before. However, challenges remain. Women's basketball still doesn't get as much media coverage as men's basketball, and female athletes often earn much less than their male counterparts. There is still work to be done to make the sport truly equal. The future of women's basketball. In the end, women's basketball has come a long way, but the journey isn't over. There are still challenges to face, including pay gaps, limited media attention, and fewer professional opportunities compared to men's basketball. However, the future looks bright. More people are recognizing the talent and excitement in women's basketball. Young girls today have more opportunities to play than ever before, and the sport continues to grow worldwide. With continued support, investment, and media coverage, women's basketball will only get bigger and better. The next generation of players is ready to take the game to new heights, inspiring millions along the way. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel.